name it. I haven't even cut you yet.
You seem very frightened.
Oh, let me go home, please. I gotta get home.
Where do you feel that we are right now?
In the Mayan temple.
In a Mayan temple?
Yes.
And where's the Mayan temple?
In Mexico. Of course.
When I was 6, my father took me on a picnic. That was a gay old time. Oh, I ate my share of wieners that day.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Queer.
Oh, I accidentally shot Daddy last night in the den. Shot Daddy in the den. I mistook him in the dark for a drug-crazed Nazi again. Drug-crazed Nazi again. Now why'd you have to get so mad? It was just a lousy flesh wound, Dad. You know I'm trigger happy every day.
Never put salt in your eye. Never put salt in your eyes. Put salt in your eyes. Always put salt in your eyes.
Misfits.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
Morgue Radio, the world's original all-horror broadcast.
Now, terror has a new face and a whole new sting.
Hey fiends, hey there, what do you know? Welcome to the show. It's Morgue Radio, your original all-horror broadcast, featuring me, your host. Yes, that's Salacious, slinger of unbound sounds, Tomb Dragomir.
He also disappeared from time to time. Once, a scheduled television performance in London had to be cancelled when he went AWOL, only to surface a few days later in the locked ward of a mental hospital in Aberdeen.
Aberdeen rules!
This week on the broadcast.
It's no longer just one genre, like horror or slasher or splatter or something like that. It's all, we're taking 6, 7, 8 genres and putting them together now so that everybody really has something that they can, you know, they can hook onto.
The gruesome twosome so nice, we just had to book them thrice. Smash Cut star David Hess and director DEMARBRE return. Blood Spattered guide goes scaring up scores with Elm Street's Charles Bernstein.
Welcome to my nightmare.
And the Caustic critics go ass to mouth with a human centipede.
A human centipede. First sequence.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. Hey fiends, mad minstrels this week from Alice Cooper, the Cramps, the Damned, plus tons more fun to come. Little John Carpenter and more is all in store, so stay tuned. Hey, here's Vince Ray, non-stop rock and roll voodoo action on Morgue Radio. Your home for non-stop rock and roll voodoo action. Let's go!
Non-stop rock and roll voodoo action. Non-stop rock and roll voodoo action. Non-stop rock and roll voodoo action. Non-stop rock and roll voodoo action.
Gives me the willies.
I second the motion.
Well, I'm not crazy about it either, but there's nothing we can do about it. That's what you think. Nobody leaves this island, huh? Well, I'm getting off it if I have to swim.
And me right behind you. You know that Dr. Sanders has got the hex on us.
Now you're both jumping at your own shadows.
Shadows? I don't throw them kind of shadows that I saw down in that kitchen. Why, Mr. Bill, this place is zombified, but good.
Ah, forget it, Jeff. There may be something to that zombie gag, Bill. I've heard of him. Ah, go on. When a man's dead, he's dead.
But supposing he's dead and don't know it.
Hello, I'm Herschel Gordon Lewis, and you are listening to Rue Morgue Radio.
Morgue Radio, Radio. Let's go. Rue Morgue Radio, Radio. Let's go.
guessed, but it would make a great movie. Which reminds me, I've organized a screening of a film I found in Farnsworth Waltz. It's called 1 Trillion Leaning Tower.
We don't have a copy of that.
Yes, we do.
I thought that was an urban legend.
No, it's real, and we have to show it. We really have to show the people what filmmaking is all about, what real filmmaking, what the art of filmmaking is all about. We've got to snap them out of their complacency. We've got to show them the suffering and the hurt and the pain that goes into filmmaking. We've got to really shake them up.
Just stop the f***ing spitting.
Alright, so first of all, what is the state of the Church of Satan? I was going to ask you about Wes Craven, and now I'm ashamed to.
Les Messman style.
Possibly the Antichrist. Like a zombie character on Sesame Street. All of a sudden it seems so irrelevant. Continue.
I speak nothing but the fucking English language. And if that's infamous, then tough titters.
Alright, this is feedback with more of my interview with the director and star of Smash Cut, filmmaker Lee DeMarbre, and actor David Hess. Once the confusion with David J. Hess subsided,
yes.
How did you feel when this part landed on your table? Had you any idea who Lee DeMarbre was?
No, that doesn't mean.
Do you miss those days?
It doesn't mean anything because because we talked on the phone. I mean, the first time we met each other on the phone, Lee was on his way to a festival in where was it? In Anchorage?
The Yukon.
In the Yukon. The
Dawson City Film Festival.
So he was freezing his ass off, and we were talking. He's, I gotta go now. It's really too cold. No, let's talk more about the script. No, I gotta go. I'll see you in a couple days. That's exactly the way the phone call went.
Yeah. I was in the airport,
and then he came down to Los Angeles for the Vampiro film.
Yes,
and strangely,
we went to Sasha Gray's house together.
Right.
In the middle of shooting a scene for a movie.
I'm sure I don't have to point this out for our listeners, but because you didn't get a proper intro, David is best known for his part in Wes Craven's debut 1972 film Last House on the Left. And Michael Berryman's in the movie too.
Yeah, Michael's amazing in the movie.
Really crazy wig.
What is it?
It's Ozzy. The police found him along with his girlfriend.
Really?
Dead. They say it was a murder-suicide.
That's ghastly.
There's more.
More?
Apparently Ozzy he's killed other people as well.
No.
They're still finding pieces. I just got a bill for the harpoon that Ozzy used to end it all. And, it's all here in the late edition.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying earlier. That everyone plays against type. Sasha Grey keeps her clothes on. Michael Berryman has hair, and David Hess isn't raping everyone in the movie.
Boom, roasted.
Everyone's playing against type.
Well, that's what I meant to ask you about. Why you came up with David Hess's name for this particular character?
You know what? I just seen the interview on the DVD for House at the Edge of the Park. Ruggero Deodato made a film starring David Hess, which is sort of a pseudo-sequel, alternate universe, Last House on the Left. And there's a 40-minute interview with David on that DVD, and I watched it and I thought, I want to work with this guy. This guy looks intense. He looks like the real deal. He doesn't look like a guy who played Krug in a movie. He looks like Krug who played David Hess in a movie. And, he seemed genuine, and he was saying things about the film industry I'd never heard anyone say before. And it made me think, he reminded me of Vampiro in that way. He doesn't give a shit what he says. He's got a silver tongue, and he doesn't give a hell. He doesn't give a damn. And David's very good in the movie, being wildly and funny, and he gets the biggest laughs in the film. I think it's because of his hair. I thought, Caucasian man with an afro, man, that's going to deliver a lot of belly laughs.
Cause afro. It's a cause afro. It's not just an afro. It's a blivet. Oh, you're going to go to there. There are 2 pounds of shit in a 1 pound bag, the blivet. Yeah.
So what was your take on the part?
For me, there's been no role that I've ever done that I felt was two-dimensional, and I don't think bad guys or good guys or whatever. Everybody's got more than one dimension, so there's humor in everybody, So I've always tried to look for that, not intentionally digging for it at the expense of something else, but just looking for the humor in life. So when I read this, it was, wow, yeah, why not? I mean, this is funny as hell, man. But at the same time, there's a very dark, black quality to it, and I've always wanted to do, you know, black comedy. I kind of cut my teeth on black comedy anyway, in terms of, you know, the off-Broadway stuff that I did. I was always allowed to be, you know, humorous there, and so it was really, it was a marriage made in heaven. And the fact that, you know, you spoke about, Lee spoke about that, you know, House on the Edge of the Park and Last House on the Left, and there's a third part to that trilogy, which is Hitchhike, which was a very intellectual film, which I did with Franco Nero and Corinne Claret.
A masterpiece.
It's a pretty good film.
Yeah, damn straight it is.
You know, it's probably the best of the three in terms of filmmaking.
I think so.
But that exploratory thing of what being sociopathic is, or sociopathology, I'd done that. So I have those three. I have that trilogy. So I wanted to move on from there, and I was able to do a little bit of the humor, get it out in Wes's next film, which was Swamp Thing. But you know, but over the years, I've always kind of moved towards that. You know, we are funny. Everybody's funny. You know, so why not?
You're speaking of your role in Swamp Thing. I don't know if anyone knows the Harry Knuckles movies, but you're very much like a Harry Knuckles character in that film. Well, yeah, you're just like, you're an ugly, mean guy that you can't help but laugh at.
Tell me where the notebook is, and I'll get you out of the swamps. Deal?
I don't mind the swamps. It's a slime that crawls out from under the rocks that turns my stomach.
Nasty mouth.
You know, you're the villain, you're the antagonist, but you know, you kind of you kid around like a protagonist.
Well,
in the film.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's a very funny role.
Who are you? Interesting. Now I know I haven't seen anything like this before.
What the hell do you want?
I represent a certain party that's interested in your formula. Give an arm and a leg for it. Your arm and leg, if necessary.
Get out of my lab! Get out!
I mean, really, if your role in Swamp Thing is really probably the reason why you got this role, because, you know, you're so damn funny in a horror movie, you know, and that's the trend now.
Well, you're speaking to where the whole industry is going, Lee, and I think it's really important that people understand that it's no longer just one genre like horror or you know, or slasher or splatter or something like that. It's all, we're taking 6, 7, 8 genres and putting them together now, so that everybody really has something that they can, you know, they can hook on to, and yet it becomes a movie, you know. So I mean, we were talking about this, and I said, Lee, this is a fucking fusion movie. This is fusion. We have fused everything, you know. And he was wonderful about that, Lee. And I mean, I got to compliment you for that, and I do it all the time, but I'm still going to do it because we're on air, and people need to know that. But he and Ian were just, they were incredibly open to whatever suggestions I had. And so there was a lot of homages to a lot of different things in this. And when they didn't work, he was the first one to say, no way, man, we're not doing this. But when they worked, put them in. Put them in. Let's see where we can go with it.
There's even a great homage to the less explored genre of exercise videos.
Yes, there is. You know, that scene wasn't in the
most
script.
Horrific part of the movie.
Yeah, the yoga scene.
Did you see the outtakes in the yoga?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in the credits, so if anyone's listening, make sure you stay for the closing credits to see these two characters doing yoga together.
If I can recommend another exercise film, I'm a big fan of Heavenly Bodies, which is a Canadian film. I believe it was shot here in Toronto. But
I bet you were a fan of the 20-minute workout.
Yeah, I love that show. I didn't even know what an erection was, and I was loving that show. I was discovering myself with that show. But yeah.
You know, they use a bit of the 20-minute workouts in Friday the 13th Part 4.
Yes, yeah, we just showed that at the Mayfair in Ottawa. Yeah, and Crocodile Dundee, he's one of his introductions to the New World.
And I think one of the girls was in Terminator. She was Linda Hamilton's
roommate.
Yeah.
That's right. She gets killed in the kitchen.
It's good to talk to a fellow 20-minute workout fan.
I love it.
That was my 20-minute workout when I was a teen.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Did you actually do the 20-minute workout?
Well, I didn't. No. I did my own version of a 20-minute workout.
Reach right and left. Stomach tight. Just to the side. Elbow high.
Believe me, I didn't quite last 20 minutes.
6 minutes, right.
Didn't last. Oh, man, that's so pornographic.
Damn.
That's fine.
As the great bard said, when sorrows come, they come not as single spies, but in battalions.
For more information about Smash Cut, visit Lee DeMarbre's official website at www.odessafilmworks.com.
Crap.
And crap? He needs to go to the bathroom, folks. Can we have a 5-minute break?
Yeah, that's excellent. One more of those.
I'm gonna scream and shout to my dying friend. I'm gonna smash it up till there's nothing left. Smash it up! 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 Call me down, oh, such a shame. Maybe if I close my feet in flame. I don't even care if I look a mess. Don't wanna be a sucker like all the rest. Smash it up! 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 Smash it up!
Into filmmaking, we've got to really shake them up.
Smash it up, The Damned on Morgue Radio. That's a great idea. Let's smash something. More. Who's gonna clean that up? Consuela!
No, I no can clean.
Shit! Let's see what's happening with Shannon. Hey Shannon, what's happening?
Toon was really excited this week, especially once he found out that Ricky Martin came out. I think he's more embarrassed that he actually listens to Ricky Martin.
Oh, I ate my share of wieners that day.
Hey everybody, I'm Shannon and I've got what's happening horror-wise from around the world. At the LLV Film Festival in Connecticut, there will be 2 filmmaking seminars on April 10th. The first one is on special effects production and will cover getting started in the industry, producing genre films, and current distribution trends. And the second seminar will be on screenwriting, with focus on the screenwriting fundamentals and making films with low cash flow. Tickets $10 per seminar. For $15, you're enrolled in both. They start at 5 p.m. at Mitchell College in New London, Connecticut. Horse Trade Theatre Group presents Radio Theatre's The Haunting of 85th East 4th Street. In March 1910, an exorcism was held to rid a building of evil, but it didn't work. Check out the show April 10th to October 31st at the Crane Theatre in New York City. Tickets just $20. Go to smarttix.com. Then in Poughkeepsie, New York, the Scared Stiffs will return to the Chance Saturday, April 17th, along with Killer, the Alice Cooper tribute. Tickets just $7 in advance, $10 at the door. Go to thechancetheater.com for age restrictions and info. And if you know something that's happening horror-wise and you want everyone to know about it, send me an email, Shannon@RueMorgueRadio.com.
Thanks, Shannon. Here's the Cramps with a little goddamn rock and roll.
I dig that goddamn rock and roll. The kind of stuff that don't save souls. And I'm just hard horny enough to throw a blind screw through some halo. Now Jill's bucket Jack had to hold. Some rabbit dug himself some Alice hole. Humpty dumped it till it done explode. They did that goddamn rock and roll. Yeah, they did that goddamn rock and roll. That kind of stuff that don't save souls. Ain't nothing good about it that I know. I think that goddamn rock and roll. Now King Tut put it on the chart, and Noah took two on his ark. Even before Van Gogh had art, Adam and Eve did it in the park. Yeah, they did that goddamn rock and roll. That kind of stuff that don't save souls. Ain't nothing good about it that I know. I think that goddamn rock and roll. Now these days all you got is bull. You get your rockets and your croissant rolls. In days of old, though, when nights were bold, they tied a soccer and a jelly roll. Yeah, did that goddamn rock and roll. That kind of stuff that don't save souls. Ain't nothing good about it that I know. Yeah, I think that goddamn rock and roll. Yeah, I think that goddamn rock and roll. That kind of stuff that don't save souls. Ain't nothing good about it that I know. I think that goddamn rock and roll.
Yeah, I like that goddamn rock and roll. That kind of music just soothes the soul. I reminisce about those days of old without that goddamn rock and roll. Stay tuned, fiends, we're back after these subliminal messages.
Blood is the key to life.
You pity the humans, don't you?
But what happens when the supply
Less than 5% of the human population remain.
can't meet the demand? Daybreakers, riot May 11th.
First, the blackout filled our world, and now the darkness is upon us. And the darkness has spawned the Shaitan. Fools say the Shaitan are just people who are driven mad by the second blackout. They're wrong. The Shaitan can't be purified. We are at war, and the Shaitan must be stopped at all costs. Will you join us? Join the Brotherhood at www.medallionpress.com.
Join Rue Morgue's own Rodrigo Godinho at There Will Be Sangre, the business of horror, happening this Friday, April 4th at Lowe's Santa Monica Beach Hotel.
Do you really love me?
Godinho is joined by fellow panelists Edwin Pagan, Joe Senna of Fearworks, and others. The National Association of Latino Independent Producers 2010, navigating in a sea of change. There Will Be Sangre. For more information, go to www.latinhorror.com.
It's Bernstein and the Blood Spattered Guide right after this weird tune from a French band called Tepa from Dernière Souvenir. Freddy Krueger.
Tu connais la rumeur, j'éclaire de ma lueur, couleur sang affligeant la douleur. Aux prétendants au trône, je les surprends et surgis. Endurci, pas de bonjour ni de merci, bien servi. Un coup de pompe fâché dans un nid de fourmis, c'est la sanction. Si tu t'es endormi, y'a pas de rançon, prise d'otage sur ce que dit. Écoute bien ce que je te dis, je sais que t'en as peut-être trop ou pas, Célie. Ceux qui parlent ne savent pas, ceux qui savent ne parlent pas. Y'en a qui parlent sans savoir, d'autres qui savent parler, ne parlent pas sans savoir. Et s'ils savent, vont pas parler. Y'en a qui savent pas parler, pourtant plein de savoir. Y'a pas que les mots pour parler, ça tu peux bien me croire. C'est pas une question de parler, personne veut donner son savoir. Je préfère te laisser parler, sans que tu puisses rien y voir. Le mystique Mista, les spécialistes abusés Scorca, le cauchemar comme Freddy, pour les MC de l'Armada.
Honte à toi si tu te la contrats. Lyrics trompe pas sur un nouveau contrat.
méthodique, c'est ta dernière séance. Mais je suis pas Eddie, je lâche des bombes, rose des tombes après, plus rien à voir. MC fout la foire, je suis cool, vas-y petit, serre-moi à boire. Pas de vaccin pour le corsaire, lyrique, ça sans repère. L'Espagne, si tu pleures et sors père. Battu de peur atteint comme Freddy, je tue. Eddie, sais-tu, mon style, c'est en douceur comme le satin. Toi t'es têtu, mais tu pries en latin pour te réveiller le matin. Et t'es sans rêve quand tu tues, ta catin, brûler des patins, veux-tu voir d'horreur, faire le héros, comment je crois sous l'erreur. Abuse, Cougar, deviens con en rap, Schwarzenegger. Père, si tu t'endors, passe un sale quart d'heure. X comme ardeur, criminel, t'es portant d'acteur. Laser, ton débardeur, Ken Barber te fait claquer comme un flipper. Une fois maqué, prend la place de la babysitter. C'est la féerie, à série, tueur en série. Quand je viens pour serrer, trancher de mes lames à série, je l'appelle chérie. Car elle mérite des fleurs, ta pucelle à la mairie. Lyrics, t'es mérité, devant pâté, abuse, tu péris. J'canne les laisse à poil, j'écrase comme un petit mégot. Dans ce slip d'ego, collectionne des scalps comme des slips de go.
Pour le diable, c'est stable. Plomber des crudeurs, amuser ton plat. Tu t'étais endormi, tu connais la rumeur, tu t'en sors pas. 98.
This is Jackie Earl Haley, the new Freddy Krueger, and you're listening to Rue Morgue Radio.
Oh, God. No. Just me. From the very beginning, it was the children who gave me my power. The Springwood Slasher. That's what they called me.
Hello, Robert Englund here, a.k.a. Freddy Krueger, ex-Freddy Krueger, and you're listening to Rue Morgue Radio, and check me out in April on Bones.
The night is my domain.
Hello, I'm Liisa Ladouceur with a public service announcement.
This is a public service announcement.
Each month, a new issue of Rue Morgue magazine lands on newsstands and in mailboxes around the world. Fans rush with complete abandon to see who is on the cover and what's inside. Friends, I must warn you, this month, approach your Rue Morgue mag with caution. For on the cover is an image so, well, insanely amazing that it will knock your socks and your shoes right off.
Socks. Sometimes they just seem to have a mind of their own. But can they ever be knocked off your feet?
I think I have just the thing.
What?
Explosives.
Rue Morgue, its parent companies and affiliates, such as myself, cannot be held responsible for any slip and fall injuries or permanent loss of footwear that results from your viewing of issue 99, Freddy vs. Freddy.
Freddy versus Freddy.
Place your bets!
Seriously, congratulations to Rue Morgue art director Gary Pullen and graphic artist Justin Erickson. To see what I'm talking about, visit your newsstand or rue-morgue.com. So what does any of this have to do with the Blood Spattered Guide to Music? Well, if you're a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street series, you know that Freddy's theme is one of the most iconic in all of horror cinema. It was written by Charles Bernstein, an American composer with more than 100 film scores to his credit. He's a busy guy. He's also on the Academy of Motion Pictures board and squeezed in a conversation during the busy Oscar weekend. I think he was going to a ball to go back in time to 1984 and tell us how to score a nightmare.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Hey, Charles, how's it going?
Good, we're good.
All right, cool. I want to start with asking you about Nightmare on Elm Street, which is our special issue. You had done horror and thriller quite a bit by the time you did the score for Nightmare. How did you come to work on that project? How did you get hired by Wes Craven?
Well, my agent at that time called me and said, actually I was out of town, and he said, there's this little picture, the budget is kind of small, and it's definitely kind of off the main path, and the director's kind of creative. He used to teach, and he's kind of an intellectual, and you might get along with him. It's a horror movie, but it's small. Why don't you take a meeting with him? So when I got back, I got together with Wes, and I really liked him. And I thought, this will be kind of fun.
picture will probably never get released. I saw some footage, and it just looked like, okay, this is one of those little pictures that is maybe not going to do too well, but I really like Wes, and looks like an opportunity to do some fun music, so let's dive in.
Hey, now cut that out!
How early on did you understand that there would be a dream or fantasy element to it, and how did that influence the early decisions you made about how you were going to score it?
Well, Liisa, the second I saw the picture, it became clear to me that it reminded me actually of my favorite movie. I'm not going to, suggest that it's in the same league with it, but in some ways it has a lot in common with 8½, which I had seen, I think, at least 60 times on the big screen. I just, was enchanted with that picture. And one of the things that enchanted me was the interplay between fantasy and reality, and how the director never quite told you when you were in Marcello Mastroianni's mind and when you were in objective reality. And that's the first thing I noticed about Wes's movie. He was playing with the divide between the dream world and the real world, the waking world, let's say. And it just intrigued me that the music could play a role in kind of elucidating the movement between the inner and the outer reality.
Did you recognize that this was going to require an iconic theme for an iconic character? It's not like someone said, hey, make a theme for Darth Vader. We didn't know that Freddy was going to be Freddy yet, right?
Absolutely. I wasn't that savvy about the market, and I said, oh, here's this guy with razor blade fingernails, and, I don't know, this is kind of out there. I don't think this is necessarily going to catch on with the general public. So I was very much not thinking about it being a hit film, very much not thinking about creating an iconic theme. I basically approached it first functionally. I have to scare people here, I have to do this here, and so forth. It wasn't until I got into the writing that it occurred to me that a theme would be really helpful in the picture. And I suggested it to Wes. I said, usually we just write kind of scary music and motifs, but I'd kind of like to write a melody that kind of sums up the flavor of this thing. And he was very supportive. He said, let's hear it. And he was 100% behind it. So the fact that there's a theme was actually a secondary thought. It wasn't my first impulse.
Look, we have reason to believe that there might be something very strange going on here.
Got no argument with that.
Can you remember doing anything unusual on the Nightmare score in terms of strange sources or techniques you hadn't done before?
Well, actually, there was one landmark thing about the Nightmare score. It was one of the very first scores recorded in what's now called home studio environment.
So the film was successful and your music was as well. Why didn't you work on any of the sequels?
Sometimes there's a mindset that they want to completely go a different direction each time, which was evidenced by, different directors and different, thinking, okay, let's not be a sequel that keeps feeding on itself. Let's keep reinventing itself, which, by the way, is, I think, even true this year with the new Nightmare that they're doing. I think even Wes Craven isn't associated with it. So, it just might be that they were trying to go in that direction. It certainly wasn't anything to do with my relationship with them. It just, for whatever reason, they kind of seemed to go that way. Fortunately, they kept my theme in a lot of the later ones. So I feel very much still connected to the series.
Remember me?
It's me, it's you, it's Dean, it's Jesse, Chris. He's in all of our heads, Nancy. We gotta stop this.
How?
Don't fall asleep.
There will be more with Charles Bernstein. In the meantime, visit his website, charlesbernstein.com, to learn more about him and buy his books, including Movie Music and Insider's View. Of course, in honor of our fabulous cover, The Legacy of Nightmare on Elm Street, and the work of Charles Bernstein, here is Freddy's theme on Rue Morgue Radio.
Alice Cooper. Dada.
children. This is Alice Cooper, and you're listening to Rue Morgue Radio, and you better listen, because I know where you live.
Dinner time with this female centipede here in Africa. On the menu, fresh grasshopper. When this centipede goes out to eat, she doesn't hire a babysitter. Nope. She packs her young securely in the tender trap of her own back legs. Warmth, security, togetherness. Centipede family values. When it's time to put the kids to bed, all she does is lift up her rear end and march home. Out in the African night on her own, she draws the attention of a predator. This small black-headed snake, whose diet is comprised mainly of centipedes. The snake attacks. The centipede mom bites back in defense, but the snake holds on with hungry determination. The snake's venom works, and the centipede is a goner.
The Caustic critics.
Controversial. Unrelenting, it's brutal, it's nasty.
Sensational.
The worst of the worst. Offend everyone equally.
Bowling.
They're real. This stuffed shit scrapes off the bottom of its shoes.
They're mean.
So what was the actor's name? Oh god, what a plank he is.
They're here.
Are you ready? It's time for the Caustic critics. They're here.
Alright, this is feedback.
And this is Last Chance Lance.
And this week, we're going ass to mouth. With the human centipede.
Oh my god.
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
An absurd little, horrible, nasty, all the way from Holland. By director Tom Six, a man known primarily for his comedies. This is his first foray into the horror genre, and presumably not his last, because he's already planning a sequel to this film.
Oh, a sequel? Are you fucking
technically
kidding me?
This is called The Human Centipede First Sequence. The sequel will be the full sequence.
Wow.
The first sequence comes out on April the 28th in North America through IFC Films in a limited theatrical run and simultaneously on video on demand.
I can't see this movie ever playing in a theater. By limited, it must mean like one theater in buttfuck nowhere or something, honestly.
Along with Taxidermia, this thing joins the list of must-see films of 2010.
You gave me Taxidermia a while ago, and then I saw this, and I saw them back to back. Like literally, one turned off, the next one went on.
That's like the double bill from hell.
You blew my mind with both these movies, because honestly, I hadn't heard anything about them. I went into them as a total blank slate, which is just, I'm still recovering from.
Yeah, that's the best way to go into Human Centipede. I'm assuming by the time people hear the review, most people will have an idea what the film is about. I'm going to try to give a synopsis without really spoiling it for the few of you who don't know what this thing is about. If you don't, stay completely ignorant or as much as possible before you watch the movie. It starts out in somewhat familiar territory. A couple of American girls are vacationing through Europe, and they're driving through the backwoods of Germany.
We're on a road trip through Europe.
European vacation.
We're from New York.
They do a bunch of stupid stuff, and they end up finding a mansion in the middle of the woods.
Hi. We got a flat tire. Can we come in? Can we use your phone so we can call the car company service?
Are you alone?
Yes, we're alone.
Come in.
Home to this demented surgeon who drugs them, kidnaps them, straps them to a bunch of operating tables in the basement alongside another guy that he's drugged and captured.
Are you relatives?
No,
we're friends.
you have a really lovely home. Do you live here with your wife?
No. I don't like human beings.
And then he shows up one day and explains to them his mad, crazy plan. And his plan is to join them all together as a human centipede, ass to mouth. Literally stitching the mouth of the one person to the arse of the person in front.
I'm Dr. Joseph Heiter. So, I'll explain this spectacular operation only once. We start with cutting the ligamentum patellae, the ligaments of the kneecaps. So,
Knee extension is no longer possible. Pulling from B and C the central incisors, lateral incisors, and canines. From the upper and lower jaws. The lips from B and C. And the anus of A and B, creating a Siamese triplet connected via the gastric system. Ingestion by A, passing through B, the excretion of C. A human centipede. First sequence.
It's just an absurd idea, but the idea is to connect the human gastric system throughout all three individuals. He's also going to remove the ligaments in the knee so they can't straighten the knee, so they're forced to crawl around joined up together as a human centipede.
Hence
and
the
apparently
name.
the director teamed up with a real-life surgeon to devise, you know, the plan of how to do this. And you got to think, like, the guy who teamed up with him to come up with this idea is a real-life surgeon treating human beings.
Well, crystal meth is a hell of a drug. That's all I got to say, because someone's doing something to even think about this. I wanted it to say based on a true story or something like that, to at least, okay, that's why this happened. But no, someone just had a fucked up idea and said, I'm going to make a movie about connecting people ass to mouth.
That's it. Apparently, the idea was born when he used to joke to people if they saw like a child molester on TV, he'd say, you know what they should do as a punishment? They should stitch his mouth to the arsehole of a fat truck driver. And people would just automatically go, oh, that's gross, that's disgusting. And from that, he decided, well, you know what? It sounds like a good horror movie. So that's basically the setup. And then what happens is the girls obviously do everything in their power to ensure, or try to ensure, that this crazy doctor does not realize his mad scheme.
Something I got to say, though, there's very few actors in this, very few sets, and they use everybody and everything to the best of their abilities, but the doctor creeped me the fuck out.
Amazing
Now, this is a guy who already looks creepy. He's kind of like a cross between Udo Kier and Lance Henriksen or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
That's a great description of him. His name's Dieter Laser, a German actor.
And he was fucking creepy.
Really creepy and really intense. Now, I've seen the film a couple of times, and his performance just kind of grows in intensity. You can see he's really engaged with this mad mental psychic space that's legitimately unnerving.
It's mental.
But in a way, I think just the synopsis that we've given does a disservice to the movie.
It's mental.
In one sense, obviously it sounds a bit mental and almost juvenile.
It's mental.
And at its heart, it really is. But it's its execution that makes it so compelling. I will say, without giving any spoilers, there's a real deep sense of hopelessness and sadness to this film. And it's absurdly comedic, but it's also totally revolting and horrifying. And the director really plays on your response to the material in that sense. You really don't know whether to laugh or vomit. And the other interesting thing is it's shot like a comedy. We've seen a lot of backwoods survivalist horror films from Europe in recent years, and even the remakes that we've seen in America, they tend to be almost monochromatic, dismal, dark tones. This is shot with bright lights, stark colours, and really it was shot like a comedy. It's a very interesting visual approach to material of this nature. It's beautifully made. It's a beautifully crafted film with just really challenging, revolting imagery.
I laughed and vomited at the same time.
It's like being back in Thailand after one of your famous benders.
I didn't know that was a lady boy. Give me a break. She looked like a chick.
All right, until next time, this is Feedback.
And this is Last Chance Lance.
centipede pirate. Yo-ho, centipede pirate. Yo-ho, centipede pirate. Yo-ho, 29 sea legs wants to make 100 with pegs.
Centipede pirate of the 7 seas, a vain arthropod who shot venom with ease. This swashbuckler's dream, a cool 50 pair. So we ordered his crew to find the legs that weren't there.
Avast, you termite sprouts! I've won the new bounty, 100 legs. Centipede pirate, yo-ho, centipede pirate, yo-ho, centipede pirate, yo-ho, 29 sea legs wants to make 100 with
At
pegs.
the next port, late at night, the crew went to shore and did something not right. The termites gnawed legs off every table and chair. The people awoke to a sight so unfair.
Me termites. 29 real legs plus 70 wooden peg legs equals, let's see here, 99, you failed me!
And with the plunder a blunder, the centipede pirate ordered the first mate termite to walk the plank. It was at that moment a great mutiny began, and the termites rose up to make a meal of the captain's peg legs.
Termites whittled each leg the best they could chew. The ungrateful captain was very askew. His pegs were mere toothpicks. The termites all roared. The captain, he wobbled and fell overboard.
It's recess, monkey, centipede, pirate. Arr, I'm a pirate. I'm a pirate who's out of time.
Aye, you don't have the sense God gave a jellyfish.
Yes. Vote for us for Morgue Radio if it's still on, Estimados. I think there's time. RonjoAward.com and vote for Morgue Radio. And your old friend Tomb Dragomir as favorite horror host. Until then, fiends, you can follow me on Twitter, Tomb, Dragomir, all one word.
God! Because everybody's heard that the bird is the word. Bird. The bird's a word. Bird. The bird is a word. Bird. Ow! Oh, God, sorry.
Here's the River City High. We want the radio. Until next time, fiends, adios.
We want the radio. We got a list of demands, and one of them's removing you with the slide of the hands. You're out of control. We want the radio. We want the radio. Won't take no for an answer. The sound is hitting our ears and it's killing us like cancer. It's time to overthrow. We want the radio. We want the radio. We want the radio. We want the radio. Turn up the playlist, you know it won't be missed. We're taking control of the show. We want the radio. We gotta take a stand. We're breaking off the dial. If you got a better plan, you gotta let us know. We want the radio. Yeah, that's right. We want the radio. We want the radio. We want the radio. You say it's a bacon. You say that that's bullshit. What a surprise, number one with the bullet. We're taking control of the show. Alright, let's go! Take it from us. You're on the way out. We need someone we can trust. Yeah! We want the radio.
rock and roll radio. Come on, let's rock and roll with the Ramones.
Warmth, security, togetherness. Centipede family values.
Damn right.
And David Hess isn't raping everyone in the movie.